Last month, we went and beat Dark Souls 1 to see if faith was viable. And it was pretty viable. But now, it's time to see if faith is viable in drangleic. I haven't played Dark Souls 2 in a couple months, and I never even beat all of the DLCs, and my initial build was a strength build. So I don't fully know how well this is going to go, but let's go see if faith is viable in Dark Souls 2.
Perhaps you've seen it, maybe in a dream. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. Symbol of the curse, an augur of darkness. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drangleic. But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why.
We wake up in Things Betwixt, and we head to a strange house in the middle of this place.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you.
You'll go hollow.
Yes,
You'll become one of them.
hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
You already know where Johnny sins.
At least you know your own name. It's a human effigy. Take a closer look. Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
So now, we're gonna pick priest for our beginning class, and for our gift we're gonna bring some human effigies. Spread them wide open. Again, I'm not the best with character customization, but I try to recreate Johnny. Finally, we leave the things betwixt and get our first bonfire. Also, I think this is the lowest endurance I've ever started a character with. It starts off at 3. How much? We have 86 only. Our endurance is 3? And these are my first times using the heal miracle, and I noticed something, and that is miracles actually cost stamina in this game. Yay! I never really had to do stamina management when it came to the miracles in DS1, so this is going to be a bit different. Also, I love this little inside Dark Souls 2 joke they have here. Who started this? The man that made this must feel so proud. And finally, we walk into the brightness and the calmness of Majula. We talked to Emerald so we can get our Estus flask, and I'm not going to be showing you guys me getting every Estus flask in a game because it's just tedious. We talked to the classic crestfallen warrior with depression, and we just finish his dialogue so we can get the blue seal ring off of him. Now this ring only gives you an extra 3% in max HP. That is not a lot, but honestly, it's better than nothing, so that's why I decided to go and pick it up anyway. But we're going to be replacing it very soon. We walk on out, bum out, into Hyde's Tower of Flame, and I get a taste of how fast these giants are. Not too bad. No! One of my own viewer pranks me by making me think that they can't even hear the game or my own audio. Oh my god, he was capping. I knew it. I knew it. I just turned on my actual volume for a second. And our first boss, Dragon Rider, and I instantly failed to make him fall off the edge. Second time's the charm, baby. We never got anywhere without failing once. I'm just kidding. You already know it's third time's the try. I can't believe I fumbled that second attempt. And not only that, we run into one of our first miracle vendors, Lycia.
Are you from these parts?
No, look at me. And I'm going to do a quick demonstration of the miracles she currently has to offer to us, just so we have an idea of what we even have at our disposal right now. Right off the bat, we have access to 3 different miracles. We start off with the heal miracle, which restores 500 HP and requires 12 faith minimum to use. Then there's a med heal, which restores 850 HP and requires 18 faith. And finally, we have Great Heal Excerpt, which heals 1,300 HP and only requires 14 faith to even use. So basically, heals now just heal a base amount of HP instead of scaling with your faith. So now, if you actually want more HP from your miracles, you're going to have to get these other miracles as well. I will say, with how limited your Estus is at the beginning of the game, I actually find these to be incredibly useful. But as you continue on further and you get more Estus and start buying life gems or even use the various other healing items in the game, these do start to fall off. We have Replenishment, which heals 840 HP over 120 seconds, so 2 minutes. And we have Resplendent Life, which heals also 840 HP, but in a matter of 60 seconds, so just a minute. And Resplendent Life takes 2 attunement slots. These are actually pretty decent miracles to put on before a fight, allowing you to regenerate HP in the middle of a battle, and I prefer to put them on before bosses. Since your HP is so low at the beginning, you're actually going to see a decent chunk of your HP get restored, but once you start leveling up, it's just going to whittle down into a lower and lower percentage. I don't think they're bad, but I don't think you should be prioritizing these over other miracles that you get. And next up, we have the miracle Caressing Prayer, which removes all poison buildup and all poison on your character. Poison is a much quicker status effect compared to DS1, so even if you try to heal yourself of poison, you're still going to take a lot of damage from it. There's also just not much poison unless you're in the gutter, so I decided not to really bring it. Next up we have the Force Miracle, which I think is massively nerfed since last time. Just like in Dark Souls 1, it just mostly pushes enemies around you away, but it doesn't send them flying back like in Dark Souls 1. I don't really use it in this playthrough, but I would suggest using it more towards areas with bottomless pits and stuff like that to shove down enemies. Other than that, I don't really suggest using it. And next we have good old-fashioned Lightning Spear. This miracle does about 1.95 times the amount of lightning damage that is on your chime. And Lightning Spear has an AoE that does about 20% damage in a small radius around your target after it's hit. This is our first means of having access to range damage with miracles, and because you also have to upgrade chimes, it's not going to be as powerful against bosses as it was in DS1 where we could just knock them out with a few lightning spears. But again, it's our first option that we have, so I might as well take it and use it to its fullest potential. And next we have Homeward, which does the exact same thing as DS1 as well, which just returns you to the last bonfire you rested at. If you don't have any Homeward bones, it's actually a really good way of farming and getting yourself back to the bonfire and resetting everything. Maybe the way back is a little too dangerous because you went past too many enemies, but overall it's not something you need to carry on you at all times unless you have a purpose, which is again to start farming. And finally we have another reappearing miracle, Guidance. Using this will reveal other miracles from other players and will also show you some hidden developer messages. And using this miracle counts as a self buff, so you can only have one of those at a time. And do you really want it to be this one? I didn't really have the time to apply it and then start searching for other miracles that might have been planted, so I never used this throughout the entire game. If you are completely new, I don't think it's the worst option to have, but even then, I don't think it gives you enough benefits to warrant it being a self buff and a miracle slot as well. We get the Ring of Binding and see this enemy also fumble around trying to get us. Lightning Spear requires 22 faith, so our only offensive option right now is the mace, and we need to two-hand it to even meet its strength requirement. I enter the Forest of the Fallen Giants and really see how many enemies they love to spawn to just gank you. We open the door to get to the next bonfire. We go down here to get some Titanite to finally level up some of our weapons. Since now, not only do you not have any talismans to conduct miracles, you need chimes, but also those chimes also have to be upgraded as well. As we go further, we see both a ball and an enemy that received the ball treatment. We exhaust this guy's dialogue so we can get the key to the mansion at Majula.
Here, take this. A key to the mansion.
Bait this Koopa into swinging into this exploding barrel. And we try baiting this enemy into lobbing firebombs into these exploding barrels so we can get the shortcut, but I swear to God he hits it directly many times and it just doesn't work. We go on to fight the pursuer early, and some of my advice that I use is to just always roll to his right and then get a hit off and don't get greedy. Since it's the beginning of the game, you probably have a little bit of agility, and I don't really like the hitboxes in these games, so really just take it and be careful. And me personally, I prefer to just roll away when he tries to do this grab attack. After defeating the pursuer, he will drop the Ring of Blades. This will increase the physical damage of your weapons by about 20, just 20. And right now, since we don't have any means of actually attacking them with miracles, this is very useful on our mace. Also, we catch an enemy being a little bit zesty to this wall. Yo, my man! What happened to you? And we finally get faith up to 22, so we can now try Lightning Spear. Lightning Spear does about half of this enemy's HP. Not bad, not bad. Alright, let's see how much the mace does in comparison. Yeah, the mace is actually still pretty strong for us. And not only that, we can only cast Lightning Spear 3 times every time we reset at the bonfire. Back in DS1, you had about 10. They did more damage, and you can clear a boss with about just 5 of them. Being a Faith build is a little rough in the early game, and the way to actually fix this is to level up Attunement. Leveling up Attunement does about 3 things. First, it increases your casting speed, which affects all spells. Second, it gives you more slots so you can equip more spells at a time, and it increases the max number at which you can cast spells as well. If we keep going down this road, we can eventually get Lightning Spear to 4 and to even higher numbers. But right now we have to settle with 3 heals and 3 lightning spears. We go back and face this ambush, and this is the first time I see that lightning spear actually does AoE, as it kills an enemy behind the target I had just hit with the area of effect. Also, we get the life ring, which gives us an extra 5% maximum of HP, and the blue seal is only 3, so we decide to equip that as well since we have no other better options. We open up this door for the shortcut. We go back to the mansion to fight these bony boys so we can get an extra Estus shard, and so we can get an extra soul vessel to use in the future that'll let us rearrange all of our stats. I almost fling myself down the hole. I open up this door so the blacksmith can get in, and I run up and just rob his shit before he has a chance to confront me about it later. And since he can now upgrade our items, I decide to upgrade my chime twice and upgrade my mace once. And now we're ready for the boss, the last giant. I shoot a lightning spear right up the ass crack, and that does not do a lot of damage, and we only have 2 more left. Now we have 1. We have to start going melee on him, and the mace is very effective right now. It does, I think, as much damage as lightning spear while also being quicker and just reliant on our stamina bar. The lightning spears ran out fast, but we eventually just take him out with a final hit to the leg. We level up strength so we can use the mace one-handed. We go back to the Forest of the Fallen Giants so we can get this chest with the Ring of Restoration, which restores about 2 HP every second, so just passive regeneration from now on. Not bad, but eventually we're gonna have to replace it. Absolutely break this giant's ankles right there. We collect some Sublime Bone Dust to power up our Estus, and we use a Fragrant Branch of Yore so we can go up to the 2nd floor that also has another Estus shard. And we find an elephant enemy, and this dude really isn't much tougher than the other ones. I try to book it past Old Man's Wharf, and that doesn't exactly go well. But just ditch all the clothes, be bum-ass naked, and you're gonna run as fast as wind. I don't notice this enemy before I heal. You're Where did you come from? And we pull the lever that allows the ship to now dock. We acquire the shortcut so we can go back to the bonfire. Why did I? And now it's time to face the Flexile Sentry. Because we're in water, I assume that lightning is going to do a bit more damage. We definitely don't have enough lightning spears to take out a chunk of his health, so we have to start putting up the ones. Also, with these spiked clubs, you can just roll out of the way before they even attack you, and I prefer to do that. But I save 1 lightning spear to hit them as they miss, and then we just go in and hit them with 2s, and then that's it for the Flexile Sentry. We ring this bell so we can now head on over to the Lost Bastille. After leveling up Attunement, we now have 3 slots for miracles. I head over past the Pursuer's Arena so we can get picked up by Giant Bird, so that it can take us to a different area in the Lost Bastille. I go to this area where we can fight the Pursuer again, and I roll down here thinking that the dogs can't get past the door because they don't have a f***ing opposable thumbs, but they get through the door and end up ambushing me right behind as I'm trying to take out the Pursuer. Oh no! How did they get out? Also, I ran past them near Old Man's Wharf, but here we find Lucatiel.
I don't know you,
and you don't know me.
We send this barrel down so we can open up this wall to Macduff's, start stealing this man's Titanite, and to get him off and actually working again, we have to light up this torch over here so he'll move. And now we can access Macduff, which is important because he can actually provide infusions to your weapons. He can add different elements onto different weapons and onto even different chimes. And we're interested in getting a bolt stone so we can further increase the lightning damage on our chime and to give lightning damage to our mace. To take on the pursuer again, we have to take out this crossbow guy, and I realized you can just knock this barrel over and kill all the dogs right there. I swear to God, the pursuer is easy. Literally just roll to his right. It's like every time he does this charging attack, I just roll to the right and I'm usually just fine by the end of it. And after we take out the pursuer, he drops some twinkling titanite, which we're gonna need for a specific weapon later on. To get to the next boss, we have to use a fragrant branch of yore on this person outside the door. Right now, we have to face the ruined sentinels, and I think it goes well. We're on such a small platform, I decide it's probably best for me to just use my base, but I still don't know all the timing, so I get clapped very quickly. But we eventually get the attack pattern down, and we can kill this solo one right up top here with not that much problem. The real issue is these two especially as I'm trying to heal. They really do just demand that you are watching both of them, because if not, one of them will just jump on top of you. But as we take out the second one, right now we're just facing a solo ruined sentinel in an even larger arena than upstairs. And there we go, he goes down as well. And I am absolutely flabbergasted at how many souls they give us. 41,000! One thing I forgot to mention is I'm actually wearing the covetous silver serpent ring. The +1 version is given by the hag at the Forest of the Fallen Giants. Spend 10,000 souls on her and she'll give you the +1 version for free, which isn't for free. You spend 10,000 on it, but it gives you such an increase in souls. It pretty much pays for itself as you use it throughout all the game. We put a majority of our points into attunement, and that gives us about like 5 slots in total. We defeat this pursuer so we can also rob this dude of his twinkling titanite. Can't have shit in Detroit. We continue on further and we find these little ghouls that love to explode. There's a bonfire and a new merchant up here, but we can't access it because we don't have a fragrant branch. We got this enemy jogging his way towards us, and say a little hello to all the gargoyles. We take the elevator down, and we also meet a Flexile Sentry. Hey, didn't I already beat you before? My character decides to take his sweet ass time opening this door. And we also use a flame butterfly so we can light up the Lost Sinners arena. And finally, it's time to get our first Lord Soul. I try to use Lightning Spear, but they are so quick. Honestly, at this point, I start even questioning if Miracles and Lightning is even viable. Our lightning damage is so trash. Is it? Am I doing something wrong? I decide to become human again so we can see all of Johnny's sins. We're back in the arena, and you're just gonna have to 1v1 them because these lightnings are not enough. Don't overextend yourself and always make sure you have enough stamina to get at least one dodge roll in. And I get a little greedy, and she almost puts Johnny's sins in the dirt. But Lightning Spear is actually useful as we hurl our last one to take out the Lost Sinner. And finally, we got our first Lord Soul. We put a huge amount of points into both faith and attunement, mostly attunement, and now we actually have 4 lightning spears as opposed to 3. No one else wants to smoke. I knew it. What's up? Move. We freed Strayed, and now he'll sell us some miracles and some weapons, but he can also exchange the boss souls into boss weapons as well. One of the new miracles he actually sells us is one called Unveil. Unveil will reveal and float to the nearest enemy to you. Not only that, but it also goes through walls. This helps if you really don't want to get jump scared by any enemies, but really you don't need it, especially also if you're already on a second playthrough. But even on a first playthrough, you don't need it. Just be careful, just be patient, and you'll be fine. Just a reminder, I hate the hitboxes on DS2. How? To better equip ourselves, I go back to Hyde's Tower of Flame to try and take down the dragon. Let it be known that the flame will stagger me, but it won't do the same to the enemies over here, letting them just clap me up in the cheeks. And when I run past the dragon and its fire breath, all the other enemies will just follow me and the dragon won't be damaging them anymore. My plan was to just go back and let the fire take out most of the enemies, and it kinda works. Oh shit! Oh, yes! Ow! No, wait! Once those enemies are gone, we just have to be careful of a couple leg attacks and a couple of, like, bites he tries to do. And again, I'm pretty sure in the lore, dragons are weak to lightning, so this should actually be dealing a good amount. But eventually, we take out the wyvern. I'm pretty sure it's a wyvern, and now we can go up to the next boss. But before that, I decided to go back to the things betwixt so we can kill this giant and we can acquire the stone ring. This ring deals 30 additional poise damage. It'll help us stagger enemies and bosses quicker, and our mace already has 30 poise damage, so essentially we're doubling it. We're back at the fog wall, and now it's time to face Ornstein from Timu. He tries to hit us with the AoE from his dummy thick ass. As he charges up a range attack, we can just put on Resplendent Life back after he hits the pillar. Same thing here, we have a good chance to heal because of the pillar. What? We absolutely hit the tango, and it's easy. Ornstein goes down. I did forget that the enemies wanted to see me after class. Now, this dude will sell us 2 new miracles and bolt stones so we can further increase our arsenal. But the catch is we have to join his covenant, and to join his covenant, we need a token of fidelity, which is either get by just going through the game and getting one, or by helping someone on multiplayer. And I decided to just try and find one in the Huntsman's Copse. Well, that's a lie. I looked it up. I know it's underneath a bridge here, right over in this little area, and I try to jump to it, but as many times as I do it, I always end up falling down. You can jump on top of it, but it's extremely hard. But the best way to do it is to take the route to Executioner's Chariot and to fall down here. It takes me a couple tries. And I decided to buy the silver cat ring for it. I'm not putting up text for here. It just halves your fall damage, okay? And now we have a token of fidelity. We go on back and join the dude's covenant, and now we can buy a bolt stone. We can use this to infuse our chimes or our weapons to add lightning damage to them, which will lower all other kinds of scalings, but also add a faith scaling to its lightning damage. And the 2 new miracles he sells are Emit Force and a new one, Heavenly Thunder. Emit Force is a ranged magic attack that does about 1.55 times the attack rating on your chime. It doesn't scale as well as lightning, but it offers a different element to use, magic instead of lightning now. And from what I've seen, it has more range than in DS1. With not many other miracles to take use of, we are going to be using Emit Force and using it sometimes in the future when we need to be dealing a bit more magic damage as well. But overall, just know it is going to be a bit weaker, but you are getting magic at the end of it. And next up we have our new miracle, Heavenly Thunder. Each lightning bolt scales 1.65 times your attack rating on your chime. And I say each lightning bolt because it casts multiple around you. It's not a far range option, and it does scale lower than Lightning Spear, but if you get about 2 of these off on the same target, you're doing more damage. And the bigger the boss, or the bigger the enemy, the higher chance you're going to be landing multiple lightning shots on them. Choose to use this miracle on giant targets, and you're going to be doing massive amounts of damage. Honestly, one of my favorite miracles in this game. Next, we run into a Berserk fan, Forlorn, running a great sword. They swing for massive damage, so really be careful and punish them after they miss their attack or you dodge them. After their miss attack again, I take my own advice, I just clap them. There's a bonfire cluster here locked behind a door, so we just have to go and fight this invader so we can safely get this key. We then go on back to purchase Heavenly Thunder before the next boss fight. And now we finally infuse our mace with lightning. We sprint all the way across the enemies to just get to the next boss, the Skeleton Lords. Their arena actually contains water, so anytime one of our Heavenly Thunders hits it, it'll do extra AoE. And after killing one skeleton lord, they have a couple skeletons that'll spawn right after. And I get PTSD from the pinwheel skeletons. I don't have any poise, so it is a little bit difficult trying to get a Heavenly Thunder with enemies around me. But once I cast one, I feel safe enough to cast another, and pretty much just wipe out most of the skeletons that spawn right here. And Heavenly Thunder cleared out most of them, and we can just take out the rest with the mace. As we continue further, we find Chloanne, who will sell us some stones, but we don't really need that right now. But she also sells us a new miracle, Soul Appease. Soul Appease does massive amounts of damage to any targets that are hollowed, and I did not find any statistics for what the damage will be. I haven't really used it, but many people online do say it is pretty effective, and when I went to check, there's a long list of enemies that I didn't even expect this would work on. I'd say if you're going to bring this with you, look up in the area if there are any hollowed enemies this would be effective against, and see if you'd want to even bring it. We grab a couple Titanite chunks, we lob a couple of sparks at these fine women. Hey, what you doing here? My numbers. Do not trust women, guys. I repeat, do not trust women. I know women like you. So we take her out and use this lever to advance further. And my chat tells me that the Altar of Sunlight is nearby, and it'll grant us a new ring if we access it. And that new ring is the Sun Seal. This will increase miracle damage by 5%. And no, it's not a lot, but it's better than anything else, so I still decide to run it. We enter Earthen Peak, snipe this baddie with some extra lightning, and now we have a huge target to test Heavenly Thunder on, the Covetous Demon. He's big, he's slow, and our first Heavenly Thunder does about 3 or 4 hits, which is equivalent to like 2 or 3 lightning spears. And honestly, I just run around him and just spam Heavenly Thunder because it takes out most of his HP. Honestly, we don't even need the mace that much for this fight. And yeah, we run out of the Thunders, but we can just take him out at range with Lightning Spear and Emit Force. It's done. We're getting a pretty good arsenal of miracles right now.
Welcome to hell.
He didn't even... He had so little respect for me. My man literally drank right in front of my face. We go up here to burn the windmill. Okay, now we burn it. If another enemy just showed up, I would have shit my pants. Another enemy tries to hit us up with a disrespectful heal. Oh, no. And once we're on the top floor, we just book it past all the enemies so we can get to an illusionary wall holding the bonfire. I drop on down so I can try and face Mithra early. Of course it works, and we make it on in, and now we have to fight her in this poison room. And I'm very slow to her attack pattern, so she also kills me very quickly. She's not a big target, but when she's in the water, the lightning will hit it and strike her with the AoE, so it's actually pretty effective still. And this chick will lunge at you. Do not heal at a bad time. But eventually we start feeling it up, and we can dodge most of her attacks. I didn't know about this, but the lightning actually staggers her a bit. I don't know how much stagger damage it does, but it does do it. We exchange some long range attacks. She throws her head in the middle to try and hit us with an explosion, but I know she has to go and get it, so then that's a perfect opportunity for us to plan a Heavenly Thunder and take her out. We take the elevator to Iron Keep, and we buy a bolt stone, so now we can infuse it on our chime to deal even more lightning damage than before. These enemies in Iron Keep are so quick, you can't really do a run back because they'll just follow you and hit you. And we get an invader that has like some very long range straight swords, and they throw some like goop at us, some gunk, and it slows us down. Don't trade blow for blows with them, they will retaliate and wreck. With the mace and the stone ring, after just like 1 or 2 hits, we stun them and we can just continuously attack them until they die. And after that, of course we get invaded by Armor Dennis. This dude loves his magic, but he doesn't really have enough poise to withstand the mace. But he does have close range magic and long range magic, so do not roll back and get caught by the long range magic. And I don't know what this spell was supposed to hit. I don't know where that went. But finally we do a trade and he goes down. And we talk to this merchant who provides a unique effect. You can incense your miracles with Skeptic Spice, which will lower the faith requirement by 1. If you want to get some of the higher level faith spells and ones that don't really scale off of it, like heal, then it's actually not a bad option to use these on some of them. Since we're already a faith build, I don't really need to spice up anything because I'm already going to be putting a lot of investment into the stat. And for other builds, you can't just Skeptic Spice certain miracles like Lightning Spear, because even then you'll still just get less damage from it because your faith isn't that good. For other builds not going faith, I can see the use of this, but for me right now, I don't see any purpose. We go on and just rail this enemy from the back. Hey, yo! We lure out some of these knights all the way back here so we don't get sniped. Pull this bad boy. You piece of shit. We pull this lever to bring this bridge down. We cease the fire going on in this middle area over here. We open it up and move on through it because I am not taking on the Smelter Demon right now. This enemy catches me lacking hard, but in exchange we absolutely fry his boys up. We use a Ferrous Lockstone to get to the Belfry Soul, and we get a Thunder Quartz Ring, and it just reduces how much electric damage you take. Like, there's not much else to say. We can't cast that many miracles at a time, so I decide that I need to also upgrade my endurance. We make it inside the Belfry Soul and kill these short kings. Also, I feel bad for this enemy. They stagger me like 4 times, and it only deals half my health, and then I just kill him. We face someone that's running the Avalon to shoot multiple arrows at us. This dude had just one job, just run a little bit closer to hit me, but he can't do it with those little feet. Also, I don't know how this firebomb doesn't hit me. And right now, Lightning Spear is actually dealing much more than half of the HP of these enemies, which was not doing before earlier in the playthrough. This dude decides to just stand in front of the fire getting roasted. We go on up and hit the next bonfire, and I forget that ladders are actually pretty good for moving vertically. But now it's finally time to get our second Lord Soul and to defeat the old Iron King. Even before he gets to the arena, we can just snipe his face with some spears. And when he's next to us, after doing a melee attack, we can Heavenly Thunder and still deal a lot of damage. Pick your times with Lightning Spear and make sure you don't get knocked into the lava. And when he brings the hammer down, also go in with your mace or whatever weapon, because it actually deals a lot of damage too. Go on in, take him out with the mace, even hit his horns, and there we go. Got our second Great Soul. We go on to light the Primal Bonfire, and now let's go get our third. And now it's time we head on over to the Shaded Forest. We go and free this lady with a fragrant branch so that we can now pull this lever and be met with a bunch of people that will be dealing poison damage to us. They had a huge nutsack on them, look at them. We reach the bonfire that's a fork in the road with 3 other paths to go to, and then we meet our next merchant, Vengarl.
Leave me be. I like it quiet. Leave me be.
He sells us a brand new miracle, Magic Barrier. Right here I'm going to be covering both Magic Barrier and Great Magic Barrier since they're very similar. Magic Barrier grants 150 points in elemental defense, while Great Magic Barrier gives you 250 points in elemental defense. And I'm learning this just right now. Elemental defense is anything that isn't physical. It'll give you those points in defense against magic, lightning, fire, and dark damage. Because of the name, I thought it only gave you defense against magic, but it is actually very versatile. I only used this spell when I was about to go up against bosses that were dealing magic damage, but if you're playing this game and you pick it up, start using it. If you have a good amount of armor, then you add Magic Barrier, you're pretty much resistant to any form of damage. I can't find completely accurate numbers, but as long as you meet the faith requirement, this should be active for about 70, and if you increase your faith, 90 seconds, since this miracle actually goes up in duration the higher faith you go. In the Shaded Forest, we find a bunch of invisible enemies. You can't lock onto them, and this one guy tries his hardest to get right up into my bum. And we use our Fragrant Branch of Yore here because behind this statue, there's a chest that has the Lion Mage set. There's only 3 pieces to this armor set, but each armor piece offers a 5% increase in casting speed. It's light armor, so you're not going to get that much protection, but you're going to be much faster and be more of a lighter build when using this. But enough about that. Now it's time for us to go after Najika. And right when she appears right off the ground, this is a very optimal time to use Heavenly Thunder. But she also does cast magic herself, so be careful, avoid it, and don't be like me right here. Because of her body, she's actually pretty large, so again, Thunder is just very useful for taking out most of her health bar, and whenever we have a little bit of range, we just hit her up with the lightning spear. Also, I really don't know how to avoid this underground attack, but there are moments where she gets herself stuck like Stepsis in a washing machine, and honestly from time to time I just wait for her to come to me as I plan a Heavenly Thunder, and with that one we just do one more emit force to take her out. We return back to fall through these planks because this is going to start our quest to eventually face Dark Lurker and get our best chime, the Dragon Chime. I decide to use a Fragrant Branch to free this guy, to kill him so we can get the key, opening a door to Ornifex. After freeing Ornifex, she will move to Brightstone Cove and transform other boss souls into boss weapons or boss spells. And we do make it to the Doors of Pharos, but it isn't really that interesting. I pretty much run past all the enemies and get a couple crystal lizards here and there. This enemy literally kills both himself and his boy down there to try and get me. I respect the determination, but what were you aiming at? Was there a second player down there? Also, apparently these dudes drop large Titanite. I didn't think these peasants would have that. And next is the boss, the Prowling Magus in the Congregation, and I feel like it's clickbaity saying this is a boss. Like, with one Heavenly Thunder, I take out a huge chunk of the Prowling Magus and a bunch of the other enemies. They did not learn their lesson. I just do another one and they're pretty much done for. Like 3 Heavenly Thunders rendered them useless. And I take out the Prowling Magus with 1 lightning spear and then just Congregation with, okay, that wasn't 1 lightning spear, but a bit more magic. And there we go, it's over. After leaving that casual encounter, we turn around and go back up these ladders and talk to this dude who will sell us more miracles, another copy of Heavenly Thunder, and also a new one, Perseverance. This miracle increases poison and bleed resistance by 15% and curse and petrify by 30%. The one that you're going to be encountering most, I would say, is poison and bleed and curse, and 15 and 30% is actually not a lot unless you already have some investment already into those resistances. So if you don't already have a good number to take advantage of that 15 and 30%, you're actually not really going to see that much of a difference if you get poisoned or not. And if you already have a lot of that resistance, you don't really need to bring Perseverance with it. Again, the results are so minimal that I don't see there being really much reason to bringing this with you. We light the area up so the spiders won't attack us and also attack a couple more crystal lizards. These are one of the first basilisks that I've seen without the giant fake eyes. Open this door just to see that somebody else is already living inside of it.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
So we use our mace stab so we take out this miner, walk on some of the spider goop, and now time to take on the Duke Deer Frasia. I have my chime on my right arm so I can keep my torch up on my left, and this dude does a whole magic attack, and mathematically you should run into him to avoid it. I guess I forget that during the second time he does that. and he is big, but the only vulnerable part is the head. So I try to get a Heavenly Thunder, but it won't work, and then he just stomps me out. So pretty much for this fight, I'm gonna have to be relying on Lightning Spear and my mace up close. And I'm not really gonna be using that many miracles, so I just go with better armor so we can tank more attacks as we try to hit him with the mace. And with this strategy, we're able to survive a good number of attacks without dying. And again, all I recommend is to go kind of towards this dude as opposed to running away. I should have went more towards him during that. So this boss is pretty resistant to miracles or getting hit in the body, but just have enough armor or get ready to hit them in the head and you'll be fine. We acquired our third Lord Soul, we acquired the third Primal Bonfire, and it's time for the fourth. We get our endurance to level 20, we jump down the hole in Majula and survive because of the cat ring, and eventually make it to the Royal Rat Vanguard. You have to take out a bunch of rats before the actual main boss comes in, and he's rocking like a mohawk. And he's easy, we just keep on spamming Heavenly Thunder so we can take out all the other rats and the boss. I wasn't paying attention. The rats deal both poison and petrification. This I should have actually brought preservation for. But I leave the boss hanging on 1 HP, my second attack misses, I get poisoned, I'm surrounded so I have to roll away, but I don't have enough time to heal after rolling away. This dude's very weak. Again, I just decide to spam Heavenly Thunder, taking out all his minions, and it deals massive chunks to the actual boss himself, but be careful about the status effects they're about to start giving you. We make our way down so we can eventually enter the gutter. It's incredibly dark, so I do have to bring my torch with me. And can anyone tell me what this door leads to? I never went back to it after beating the game, and I don't know what's behind it. I know something spits poison at me, but I just don't know what's actually in there. We take out these dog-like enemies next to corrosive vases, and I'm very surprised how much these basic enemies swing for. We have to make a risky jump so we can get to the other side of this gap so we can get to the next bonfire. Also, this too, what is this bug? I am very scared of bugs, but it doesn't attack me, so I know it's a friend, but what is it? We descend further and go through a vase of corrosion and get invaded by Forlorn again while we're in the Black Gulch. Even though he has a big sword, he doesn't deal that much damage and he rolls away, giving us the opportunity to heal. And just easy, they go down. And I just start bobbing and weaving because I just don't feel like going through all these threats patiently. I'm just trying to get to the boss. I try to get the next bonfire, but we get invaded by another dark spirit, and he just makes me run all the way into the rotten, so we start this fight without the next bonfire. He himself is a huge target, so he's very vulnerable to Heavenly Thunder, and his attacks are slow and not even that damaging to begin with. The fight was so boring, I just tanked through most of the hits. If I didn't dodge him, then just Heavenly Thundered him back, killing him because I have too many Heavenly Thunders to this point. That was anticlimactic, but we get to see Aldia. Wait, Aldia. Ah! Let's see what he has to say. We fall into a different area in the Black Gulch, and I'm telling you, I fear these enemies more than the Rotten. There's two, they have a lot of HP, they have delayed attacks, and they do a massive amount of damage to us. I played it safe with a lot of range, but eventually we get the Forgotten Key, which allows us to open another door to talk to this dude again, allowing us to further the quest to go and face Dark Lurker. We fall back in the pit in Majula so we can get to this one room that has the Dragon Talon to allow us to access one of the DLCs with a chest that also contains Great Lightning Spear. I'm a dumbass! Yeah, I forgot to get the miracle the first time I came down here. Great Lightning Spear is another ranged miracle that does 2.35 times the damage of the attack rating on your chime. And also the area of effect is 18%. I don't know why it's not 20, but that's the decision. It's just Lightning Spear with more damage and less casts. I'm pretty sure even the attack speed is the same. I'm sure that you're gonna get more overall damage out of bringing Lightning Spear, but if you just want to hit hard and fast, then bring Great Lightning Spear. And overall, as we raise attunement, we're just going to get even more and more and a couple more copies, so it's not even going to feel like we have that little later on in the game. And now, having all 4 Lord Souls, we can now continue on past the Shrine of Winter onto Drangleic Castle. If it's raining, does that increase lightning damage? 3 enemies decide to gank me and already almost send me back to the bonfire. And I hate trying to get these crystal lizards! Oh my god! As these statues both unpetrify, I almost take out all their HP with lightning and just take them out both with an emit force. We have to take out enemies next to these golems so their souls will fill them and allow us to actually enter Drangleic Castle.
Were you? And by whose permission do you stand before me? You seek an audience with my lord, King Vendrick. Unfortunately, His Highness is absent. Queen brought peace to this land and to her king. A peace so deep, it was like the dark.
And this dude is where you can get Great Magic Barrier, as I described earlier. And we open this door in the top left corner so we can now take on the Dark Lurker. After talking to this dude 3 times, we're allowed to access the Dark Chasm of Old, and we have to go to 3 of them and light 3 big bowls, I think, in order to actually fight Dark Lurker. We enter the Dark Chasm, and after immediately dying, if you want to retry one of these, you have to pay a human effigy to get back in. We find Havel, a dude with a rapier, and a wizard that just snipes me in the back, robbing me of my human effigy. What? I decide to talk to the guy over at the Shaded Woods to do this one because it's much easier to complete. There's like 3 enemies over here, so I'm trying to lure them out one at a time so I don't just get rocked. We do pull one of them, and even getting hit with this magic doesn't do a lot of damage. We push this dude off the map, and if we were at a bad angle, I swear this dude would have knocked me off as well. And take my human effigy. I don't like that. And there's this enemy that likes to keep his bow out at close range for some reason. And there's a pillar here, so it's just free to heal, and then we just take him out. And in each chasm, they have this thing that we have to light up in order to complete it. I will say this dude does massive damage to me, but we get past him and then we just gotta fall down here and then we've completed the Dark Chasm. 1 out of 3. We make it to the second chasm, we gotta go more vertically downwards. And I swear these dudes with the big hammers are absolute menaces when it comes to my health bar. And not only that, they also have a pyromancer with them too to deal range damage. Thankfully we don't die on the way down. Once we heal, the fire isn't really gonna be doing that much damage. And because of his startup trying to hit us with a spell, we can just kind of stun lock him as we wait for our stamina to regenerate. And yeah, he doesn't do a lot of damage to us, so we can just kill him. And we light the next fire, and in order to leave these areas, I don't know if you have to do this. I think lighting that thing is enough. But to leave, you actually do have to kill all the enemies or else this fog wall won't disappear. And we go and do just that. We're back at the first Dark Chasm, which gave us so much trouble. We go and kill Havel, and yes, he does a lot of damage, but the real threat is this dude with, I think it's Rykard's rapier, the one that allows you to swing multiple times. When he almost completes a full combo, it almost kills me. I lure him back to the beginning of the level, and he steps in the water, which slows him, and the lightning that hits it also hits him with the shockwave, killing him because I was too scared to actually fight him on his own. We go and light the last fire, and there's one more chick here that's near a hole, but she really isn't that much of a problem. We take her out with the mace, and now it's time to face Dark Lurker. Mid-fight, I do have to switch rings, so I have the Dark Quartz ring so I don't take as much damage from them. But even with the ring, their attacks deal huge chunks to our HP. And not only that, they're actually fairly resistant to the mace as well. I'm pretty sure they're resistant to physical damage. Heavenly Thunder is pretty ineffective due to how thin they are, so I can't even hit them with one. But once I just start using miracles, they start taking a much more significant portion of damage. They have a lot of explosion attacks, so get ready to run, and I have the genius idea of hitting them with Heavenly Thunder as they split, when in reality I just get double smacked up. And in order to retry Dark Lurker, I have to kill all the enemies in here as well. I can't just run back to the fog wall, it won't let me. I realize with this attack he spawns 2 holes, sends an explosive orb into one of them, and it teleports to the second and flies directly towards you. Honestly, give yourself distance when you're also throwing your own miracles, because I did not have enough, and again, just the same issue as the first death. They really do demand that you focus on both of them to find an opening on one of them. I didn't mean to trade here, but when he does his ranged dark attack, it just comes out so quick. This dude finishes up his fire attack, but I thought it lingered, when in reality he just started it up again, and then he just kills me right here. But honestly, his close range attacks are pretty easy to dodge, even if he does multiple of them. And for my final attempt, I was told to use melee during the first phase and then use long range when they split. I thought that he would have ended his attack a bit earlier, but I still get off the lightning and do not get hit by the close range. And finally, I have my opportune time to just hit him with the last lightning spear, and there we go, Dark Lurker, and we're about to get the best chime in the game, the Dragon Chime. Go back and talk to this dude after killing Dark Lurker, and then he will give you the Dragon Chime. This thing has the best lightning scaling, so I decided to also buy a lightning stone to go along with it, but you need 50 faith to even use this thing, which we're not at. I stopped at around 40, so we have to level that up. And this thing requires Twinkling Titanite to upgrade, and we can only get it to +4, so we need a couple to get it to +5, so we have 2 roadblocks right now. I decided it's fine to do some cleanup and get some extra souls, so we go to the Belfry Luna in order to kill the boss to get some extra souls. Gotta kill these little midgets up top, and then we've pulled a lever so we can now face the gargoyles. And since there's a lot of them, Heavenly Thunder actually still works since it has multiple targets to hit, and a little bit of lightning spear once they give us a little bit of space. We were supposed to face these guys earlier, so honestly it's not that hard of a fight, and we take them out with relative ease. And we get a ring that's so important to this build, the Southern Ritual Band Ring. The ring we got will increase our attunement slots by 2 while we're wearing the ring. And if we take it off, we actually lose the miracles that we have attuned on there, even if we put it back on. In the future, we're going to be running miracles that take up to 3 or 4 miracle slots, so having an extra 2 is just a really good investment. And as levels become much more expensive, we have to consider, do we really want to spend more of this on attunement, or would I rather just run the ring that gives me +2? So honestly, it's just an alternative to having to invest into attunement. I can put that more into HP, endurance, vitality, or even just more faith. So this is a very good ring. Being behind this wheelbarrow, we can Heavenly Thunder and take out every single dog down here. I feel so bad for this NPC. He's trying his hardest, but he cannot deal any real damage to me. If I put on any regen spell, really, I'll just be regenerating it before he decides to attack me again. Now, these dudes leading to Executioner's Chariot, now they're a menace, alright? And this dude is blocking the boss. As he comes towards us, I hit him up with a Heavenly Thunder, I run a little bit back, and then later I just snipe him from the back with a lightning spear, and then just one tap, he's gone. And now it's time for Executioner's Chariot. I go into the holes and block, but these dudes are still alive after that. I didn't expect that, so we have to take them out until we can get to the other necromancers and kill them so they will stay down. At one point, I do have to just tank the hit. We are a bit cornered by the skeletons, but as the executioner's chariot comes and kills all of them, they're all down, leaving us time to heal. Once all the skeletons are dealt with, we pull the lever and put this chariot to a stop. This dude himself is also a relatively big target, and Heavenly Thunder still works inside here, so we just take off a big chunk of their HP with all this as they keep on running into us. And at the end, I just snipe them with Great Lightning Spear. It's over. It really wasn't that much. We came back later. I don't like dealing with this dude during the Huntsman Cops. I'd rather come back. We return to Iron Keep and also make this very risky jump. I was clenching my cheeks so bad. And for all the Zweihander lovers out there, it's in this chest. We also use a Ferrous Lockstone so we can get water here to increase our fire resistance before Smelter Demon. I don't enjoy being up close to him, so Lightning Spear is a nice way to kickstart this off. And he can be aggressive, so I Heavenly Thunder. And he's also a big target, so this dude takes massive damage from Heavenly Thunder. I love Heavenly Thunder, dude. And as he's stuck, we do one more Lightning Spear, and it's over for him. And after doing all that cleanup, we get our faith up to 50, so now we can officially use the Dragon Chime, which is great. It's not fully leveled up, but even then, it's still out damaging the chime we currently have. I disliked my own video. I disliked my own. Damn, this shit is garbage. And Lycia is actually now selling an unlimited supply of miracles, so I buy med heal and just buy another copy of Lightning Spear to add to my extra attunement slots. Now it's time to head further into Drangleic Castle. I open up all these rooms and find out that's a bad idea twice. But in one of the rooms, we get the Royal Soldier's Ring. This increases our maximum equip load by about 15%, and we use it whenever we use heavy armor, but usually I just use the Lion Mage set, so I only use this a handful of times. And because I've been using it for this entire run, I decide to level up my mace to the max plus 10. But also I forgot to kill the Royal Rat's Authority, and all these little babies run into the blast zone of Heavenly Thunder. Once we don't have to deal with the little guys anymore, we just go underneath them and even more Heavenly Thunders. It's very obvious this dude is humongous and they go down incredibly quickly. We continue and get the Frozen Flower for the DLC later. We get invaded by a Dark Spirit, but they were just incredibly irrelevant, just cannon fodder. We go and get the Secret Bonfire, and finally we meet Nashandra. The reason this whole game started. Don't trust women, alright, bro? God.
You have fought admirably on your journey, cursed undead. I am Nashandra, Queen of Drangleic.
And now we gotta face two Dragon Riders. I'ma just say it, these dudes are certified. They have like no HP to keep either of them alive. The first one in the room has less than the one with the bow. And even the guy with the bow doesn't take much to go down, especially with a plus 10 mace. It's over! We venture forward, and to get an elevator to start, we have to fuel this golem with souls. And I hate bleed, because it's effective against you as the player, but not against like bosses or enemies, I swear. But we take out these guys so the golem can now turn this and get the elevator working, which we will be taking to go to the Looking Glass Knight. Also, a few minutes ago, we faced the Executioner Chariot in his boss arena, but now he is just as a common enemy. Like, look at this glow down. These golem enemies that we faced in Hyde's Tower of Flame are much more of a threat than that Executioner. And since the Mimic is just standing there, we just have Heavenly Thunder while the dude can't move. Once I'm done with all that, I decided to go back to the Shaded Forest for 2 rings. One, the Chloranthy Ring, +1. This will increase our stamina regeneration by 20%, and since miracles actually take up stamina, this is actually very valuable. We can dish out more lightning spears or whatever and not have to worry about our stamina keeping us down and not being able to dodge out of the way. And 2, the clear bluestone ring +1. This will shorten spell casting time by 35%. This is massive. I can output more damage and get myself out of the way quicker since I'll be done with the spell quicker. This is just like an essential tool for anybody that uses spells or miracles. We take the elevator to this closed room And in one of the chests we get the King's Passage key. After going through this, we'll be going after the Looking Glass Knight. In this room, there's a couple knights that are still alive. I'm pretty sure it's the ones with their heads still on. They are incredibly quick, but I think not resistant to blunt damage, so this is good. Now it's time to face the Looking Glass Knight, who is also resistant to lightning, so be careful with that. Again, he's fairly skinny, but I actually got a lot of hits with Heavenly Thunder this go. He does a lot of heavy attacks that don't even track very well, giving you a lot of opportunity to hit him. Hell, even this one just straight up misses me without me dodging. He will try to summon NPCs during the fight, but this just leaves him incredibly vulnerable as he does it for a very long time. And the minion he summons is fast but incredibly weak. One lightning spear and just one normal hit takes them out. And because of all his heavy attacks giving us opportunity to retaliate, he goes down with one of my viewers roasting him. Not to be Looking Glass Knight, more like Looking Trash Knight. No! And finally, we're at the Shrine of Amana. This place does suck, but it does give us the remaining Twinkling Titanite that we need to upgrade our Dragon Chime. Also, I think because of the surface level of the water, I can't indirectly hit these guys. We open the door to talk to this lady.
Knew you were coming. And stop singing. We know nothing of the world outside. And why should we? For we will never leave.
And a bunch of enemies lock onto us, but I just hide behind a pillar that allows us the chance to use Heavenly Thunder and hit all of them around us. DS2 livestream in this economy. And after a few minutes in the shrine, we get Dragon Chime up to +5. I don't know if it was noticed, but I got another copy of Lightning Spear, and I can actually hold 14 at a time, much more than the beginning. And yes, these long-range wizards are very annoying, but I have a much tougher time with these high tower knights. And also these guys that are hiding under the water. I hate how much they just surprise and gank you. And there is a Dragon Rider here, but again, he's not tough. This dude was reduced from a boss to a main enemy, so we just kill him in the water with lightning. And also, this giant is blocking a certain direction that'll give us a new miracle if we go along. Here's a very narrow section of land where there's two Autobot wizards trying to knock us off. And behind them is a chest. I don't have time for these games though, so we just absolutely snipe them back. Yeah, that's right. Get. And once they're down, we get a chest containing Sunlight Blade. All the memories from Dark Souls 1 are coming back. Sunlight Blade, just like in DS1, will give your weapon more lightning damage, and I can't say this calculation, so I'm just going to put it up on here. And this miracle will have a longer duration dependent on your faith, up to about 90 seconds. It's not as powerful as in DS1, and it doesn't give a flat increase. It's dependent on your weapon's AR, which is good. It means it's actually going to work well with maces and stuff like that, and isn't just good with weapons that attack really fast. And not only that, this gives us much more options when it comes to also melee combat instead of just using the mace with the lightning infusion. This just makes us much more versatile, and weapons that are more weak to strike, we can apply lightning and just go at it with the mace. To continue on further, we have to go to this fog wall in the cave to the right, but I decided to take a fork in the road to the left, and we're met with a giant that should be easy eats, but the second lightning spear doesn't kill him for some reason, even though the first one did like most of his health, and he just ends up chowing down on us. We don't repeat that mistake again, and we continue on the path, and in this cave is containing some bugs that are very corrosive. There's this circular area that contains a bunch of enemies, so I decide to go to the outer rim and start taking out the other sorcerers first. After that's taken care of, we just go in and take the ones in the middle out. I tried to kill all of them because I know I'm about to get invaded by the peculiar Kindle. I didn't know his exact name, but I knew he was gonna do it. My man scared the fuck out of me with what looked like dark bead. And it's fine because we do die, but we end up taking them down with us as we fall off. We make it to the entrance of the fog wall of the next boss, and this lady just disappears for some reason. I don't know the reason behind any of that. Damn girl, I didn't want to talk to you either. And it's time for the Demon of Song, and as you can see, he's a pretty big boy. Too bad you can't actually damage him, really. That's an over-exaggeration, but you can only really hit his face to deal damage. If I use Heavenly Thunder and hit any other part that's concealed, or if the head is even covered, it will not do any damage, making Heavenly Thunder actually a bad option for this fight. Lightning Spear is pretty good, but it plants me in a position to also get hit very hard. And this dude loves to hit hard, but he is pretty slow, so even if he does hit us, we have a lot of time to just back away and heal. And also, we're in water, so this lightning's gonna deal even more damage no matter what. And with just 2 more lightning spears, he's done. It wasn't really that difficult. And after that boss, the only thing to really stop us from getting to Undead Crypt is just this one dude that we've faced multiple times already. After entering through that poorly secured entrance, we go down the elevator and talk to Aldia again.
What drives you so to overcome the supposed curse? Life is brilliant, beautiful. It enchants us to the point of obsession. Some are true to the purpose that they will shoot, flesh and mind. One man lost his own body, but lingered on as a head. Others fix the charms of love. Men are props in static life, and no matter how tender, how exquisite, a lie will remain a lie. Young forever, knowing this, do you still desire peace?
Damn, I love that man's dialogue. But because we're nearing the end game, I decide to start leveling up Vigor until we get up to 30. I go back to unpetrify this guy and get stuck on this large branch you can't get up through here. Against this Pyromancer, we finally decide to use Sunlight Blade, and it's not too bad. I have some better at the school cafeteria. But for real though, as we progress and go after other Pyromancers, they don't want to be right next to us, but it's just adding that nice oomph to the damage. It's not too much, but I think it's a good amount. And who loves progress when you can just reset it, you know? As we continue further, there's these 2 enemies, and I expect them to rush me as I get closer, but they don't. I just stand there looking goofy as f. Then there's this guy who's wielding 2 heavy shields. I don't even know if these are just heavy shields. These are just straight up 100-pound weights. But when he's not using them to block hits, he just dies instantly. And Forlorn decides to invade me as I'm already getting ganked by 2 other people hitting me with spells. This is gonna remain constant, but Forlorn just does crazy damage. They give me a good walloping, but eventually we take her down. Eventually we enter an area where we can't light a torch or else we'll be attacked.
Human, do not produce light. Light and all those who bear it are unwelcome in this place.
This dude used to rock with Nito a long time ago, or he follows him, I forget. We get the bonfire. We have to pass through this whole cemetery in order to get to Velstadt. We find 2 of these shield guys, and the lightning does pass through the shields, but they're actually worse when they try to attack because they're open to getting hit, and again, they're pretty fragile when they're not wielding the shields. We then use this lever to get a shortcut to Velstadt easier, and I ignore all the other enemies so we can get into this boss fight. During this first phase, this dude's gonna hit you very hard with his mace, so I mostly just start chucking lightnings at him. Even when he backs away from you, he can attack you with the long range of the mace, which catches me off guard, and eventually he just pounds me down. My strategy for this run back was always to lure these enemies out and then to go to the left side of the arena and then go into the fall wall. This attempt, it didn't go as well, but usually that's my safe way of doing it. with Sunlight Blade, we're doing massive damage to this man. Get him down to I think around 50 or 60% HP, and he will buff himself to also now deal dark damage. I expect an explosion, so I just start hurling even more lightnings, and I do try to get a Heavenly Thunder, but not even one of them hits this man. And now he has range. He also has his own version of Dark Bead. Luckily we did have the Dark Defense Ring and some armor to prevent dark damage, but at one point he does do another Hex, which just leaves him vulnerable to getting Lightning Speared, and there we go, Velstat's done. With Velstat down, we head on to see Vendrick and now get the King's Ring, allowing us to open certain doors when we wield this.
This ring is the symbol of the king. Use it to gain passage through the King's Gate and venture to the far east, bearer of the curse. If you are to be the next monarch, then one day you will walk these grounds without really knowing why.
After clearing Undead Crypt, Strayed will now sell us another copy of both Great Lightning Spear and Sunlight Blade, and we can trade Velstat's Soul for Sacred Oath. When used, this miracle will give you 50 extra physical attack and 75 defense. Its duration scales off of your faith, and this thing is like 4 miracle slots. This thing is the most expensive when it comes to using slots for it. But I will say it is probably one of the better self buffs that we do have. Help us negate damage and do more at a time is great, and it's really going to pair well with Sunlight Blade whenever we need to do more melee damage to a boss instead of ranged. We also return to Brightstone Cove so we can get the Southern Ritual Band Ring +1, so now we have 2 extra attunement slots. And at the Forked Road, we go north and open this door with the King's Ring. This is my first time using both Sacred Oath and Sunlight Blade, and aiming towards more of a melee style with miracles as opposed to just using lightning spears and heavenly thunder, and it's more effective against NPCs with this. This door is being blocked, so we open this lever to get through to it, and after opening it, it reveals this guy behind it, who will actually be a merchant right after you save him, and he is selling the Zuli the Witch set, which, when I look at it, it has some of the highest magic or elemental resistance I've ever seen, so I decide to just pick these things up. We find a huge basilisk that I don't have time for. I literally just lightning spear this man. He can't reach me, or he's just too slow. And we're heading into a darkened room, but if we use a Pharaoh's Lockstone, it'll light up the entire area, and there's a lot of area to light up. A giant tries to attack us by surprise, but we already know he's right there. But there is bad news in that one of the cage giants, he sets them free by destroying the actual cage. And in fear of a third giant getting on the loose, I'm forced to start going in their direction and confront them so I don't have 3 at a time. But luckily, Heavenly Thunder is the absolute answer to these guys. But in a matter of time, we have like 2 basilisks and 1 extra enemy coming after us, and I just start hitting them with my fists for some reason. But there's a lot of enemies and already a giant target, so we just Heavenly Thunder to get rid of all of them. This door lies to me, and on top of that, an NPC is also summoned who is specialized in hexes, which I hate going against. I try to hit him up with the mace, I do miss, but he has this like dark whirlwind attack. I don't know what this really is, but it's so cool. And this other one, which is like an AoE that'll also just hit me behind cover, so I'm not really safe when I'm close to him. But eventually, as they just try to spam hexes right in front of me, the charge up time doesn't give them time to hit me, and I can just stop them with the mace, so melee was the way to go. And before we face the Guardian Dragon, we eat an Amber Herb so we can get our spell uses back, and then finally we're ready to face them. Already, right off the bat, we take a chunk of his HP with just a few lightning spears, and we're able to dodge the Fire Breath, which will allow us to just do another lightning spear. And I do start running. I don't know if I was supposed to do something during his attack, but I don't know if I was actually able to avoid it or if I just had to do it earlier. But this dude eventually comes down, and that's bad news for him because we got Sunlight on our mace, and it just deals so much damage, and as he does that last hit, we just get 2 more and it's over. This was done in like a minute. Also, I want to take a second to just say this game looks so beautiful. And also, after this elevator ride, I actually do see how good Amber Herbs are. Amber Herbs will give you 35% of your spell back. Oh, wait a minute. 35% of all your spells back? Yes, it gives you that percentage of spells back to all the spells you currently have attuned. And it rounds up. So if you have a spell that only has 1, it'll give you that 1. And this is the weakest version of this consumable. Others will give you even more percentages of it. Right now, it's always useful to carry some of these around when I'm going throughout the game. We make it on over to Dragon Airy and eventually talk to Emerald.
Bearer of the curse. Long have I awaited one such as you. One who might shatter the shackles of fate. One who can set me free. Bearer of the curse. It was my own manifestation that led you here.
You can traverse this whole area, and I just didn't. I don't know why. I just liked the zip line that took me all the way across. And this scene gives me those flashbacks back to Shrek 1 and Aldia!
Peace grants men the illusion of hope. Shackled by falsehoods, they yearn for hope, unaware of its ground and until a curse touches the flesh. We are bound by this guilt, as truths are the child within men.
So in this area, there are a couple big knights that we have to face, and if we don't, the spectators will come after us, and they are pretty tough. So if you're good at running back, you probably can avoid all of them, but I am not. So every time I do this run back, I will be killing each one by one. And these are the same knight enemies, but they are much faster, and they end up killing me multiple times. And at the end of it, there's this enemy wielding 2 weapons at a time. And be careful, with one hit they do like more than half of my health, and they're ready for another hit like immediately. I repeat, proceed with extreme caution when going against this enemy. But eventually we can talk to the ancient dragon. With this item, we can now enter the memories of the giants. I don't know if this is right, but this dude with the shield has some of the fastest attacks I've seen. And as we get invaded, we get the 3rd dragon ring. This ring will increase your HP by 7.5% and your stamina and equip load by 12.5%. It's pretty much just a weaker version of the FAP ring from DS1, but this is one of the only rings we have to increase our actual stamina bar, so I do use it occasionally. I start off the fight against the ancient dragon with a couple heavenly thunders, and I know he looks skinny, but I swear it's good. But during his fire attack, I get caught out in the open and I just barely hang on. Even if he tries to hit you with the legs, it's very noticeable, and when he starts to flap his wings, he actually gives you a lot of time to realize, oh, he's about to rain down the fire, and then you just run away. And from across the arena, I do hurl some more lightning, but he catches me in the fire, and for a while, I'm fine, and I think I'm out of the range, but then he kills me. Second time's a charm, and I put on the Zuli the witch set so I don't die as quick. Again, he does start flapping his wings, and I think he gives you a pretty good amount of time to run away. I would suggest not running heavy armor for this fight so you can start running faster and have a better regen though. And Sunlight Blade is amazing for saving miracles since I can get so much damage out of it and not even have to use long range stuff. It's still just using my mace. And to end off this fight, we hit it up with 1 Heavenly Thunder and 1 hit from our mace, and it's over. And I am very taken aback by how many souls this man has given us. And this is without the silver ring. I wish I put it on. Oh, we already got the soul. 120,000! I start leveling up Dex because there is a different weapon that I intend on using. And finally, we head into the memories of the giants. Bro, this place is weird. To face the Giant King, we have to go through literal warfare. All enemies on the field are wiped out by this rolling head. I don't know why I made that sound like my Geki from Yu-Gi-Oh! But the Giant Lord is giant. So Heavenly Thunder works, but again, this dude is doing massive damage, especially since I have the Lion Mage set. And since he's so tall, I can't see when he's winding up for this back attack, but the mace does absolute work, and that's it for this memory. This dude's already gone. Forlorn can't leave me alone for one damn day. We're in the next memory, and these giants are getting absolutely sniped by this lightning. I'm always astounded by how much range these dudes have. But in these areas, there's actually a lot of like great hero souls, so always be sure to pick those up. But this last giant goes down, and then we just leave with another memory. And for my next weapon, I get the Thorned Greatsword from using the Looking Glass Knight's soul, because it also has a little bit of lightning to it. And this thing takes up so much stamina to use. Once we're in the last memory, we kill all these dudes up here with the mace, and I just gotta say, I love the mace's heavy attack in this game. And I will use this as further evidence to show why I hate enemies with spears and shields in Souls games. We're getting attacked, but one of the enemies shoots one of their own. Oh, thank you. Not before absolutely railing me in the head as well. We show these dudes with crossbows the real ranged firepower. And also I end up getting stuck. What? And in this chest we get a full armor set of steel, and then that's it. We just head on out and leave the memory. And we open the final door with the King's Ring.
My journey is already complete. My name is Shanalot. The dragon gave me this name, for I was born with none. I was born of dragons, contrived by men, by ones who would cozen fate herself. They are the ones who created me. But they failed. I did not come out as intended. Fate would not be bested, and men were cursed once again. If you proceed, Nashandra will come after you, knowing that you will take the throne and link the fire. She covets the first flame and the great soul. Put Nashandra to rest.
And now it's time for the fight against Throne Watcher and Throne Defender. I'm just gonna say I'm so surprised. They don't do that much damage to me, and one hit deals a massive amount to them. And they have both tried to attack me at the same time, so when I dodge, I'm dodging like both of them. And when they get to 50% HP, they do buff themselves. But honestly, I just take out Throne Watcher first, and from what I've read, it'll take 20 seconds until the other one comes to revive them, and then take 3 more seconds to actually revive the other. So we actually have plenty of time to kill Throne Defender, and with this damage we do it in no time.
Now, be one.
Family member of Jack Skeleton is taking massive damage right now. Is this really the final boss? She moves so incredibly slow, and I just attack from range, and yes, she does hit me here, but she also leaves herself again vulnerable right after that, so I can just heal up anything that she's done. It doesn't even feel like there's a purpose to her hitting us like that. And curse buildup can be very quick, but I already whittled her down so much, and I could have just stayed away from her as well, doing more lightning spears, but I decided to just end it off with the mace, and I'm surprised how easy this was. I didn't know you could get a different ending by going back and killing Vendrick, so this is the ending we get. I'm sorry.
You who link the fire. You who bear the curse. Once the fire is linked, souls will flourish anew, and all of this will play out again. It is your choice to embrace or renounce this. Great Sovereign, take your throne. What lies ahead, only you can see.
So now we go back and start wailing on Vendrick's cheeks, absolutely making a Brazzers video on him. And I realize this dude does immense damage. I put on the steel armor to give us better physical resistance, and it doesn't feel like it helps that much. And I did not expect him to attack again this quick. Note to self and yo, don't use spells against him. What? And seeing this now, adding both Sacred Oath and Resplendent Life, they cancel each other out because they're both self buffs. So I end up just giving myself Resplendent Life without Sacred Oath, and I would have preferred Sacred Oath. We keep on getting smashed in, so I decide to run the drangleic set. This dude has no pants. He's definitely feeling this mace all the way up in there. And you can just strafe some of his attacks. Don't be greedy, but just strafe the next one. And during this fight, I'm told not to reapply Sacred Oath or Sunlight if I'm in the fight and they run out. But what am I, a coward? And with this set, it looks like we can tank 3 hits without dying. Oh, yep, I can. Again, he's just pretty slow. We can get in a nice couple mace hits, and there we go. We took out Vendrick. It is after already doing the ending, so we don't get a new one. But at least we took him out. And I want to try to use this Thorn Greatsword now that I can two-hand it. And I wish it ended there, but we head back down to the Black Gulch to start doing all the DLCs. And I swear this was like a third of the actual gameplay. We decide to take on the Crown of the Sunken King first. We meet our boy Sin right away. We have the Thorn Greatsword leveled up with the Lightning Infusion, and it still takes about 3 hits to take these dudes down, which is not great. We have to hit these pillars so walls will come up and down. This dude is smacking up our HP, but I think we get a nice combo off with that, the shove, and then the final hit. Make a very risky jump for a Darts Quartz Ring +3. Just know that the Quartz Rings have similar stats, but they just do it to different elements. And when we get down here, we get a +7 bow, but you can't leave, so I have to use a Homeward Bone. We ain't even at Elysium Lois, but I still slip off of it. And 2 heavy attacks with the mace is enough to take these enemies down. Activate this pillar so it'll unlock a shortcut for you. There are these turtle enemies that have the statues that shoot poison, but you can't hit them. You actually have to hit underneath them, like the actual body. We continue further, and along this area, there's like a couple archers, so be very careful. There's a good amount of walls, so you can be fine, but these enemies attack me from both sides, bro. We take out this dude, but there really wasn't much in this area to get, and we just continue on further. And we continue to see Sin absolutely lobbing his fire on these people. We go into this pyramid and find enemies that are essentially ghosts. They have immense resistance to, I think, everything, or just more health. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's just resistances. But those coffins on those tables, if you destroy them, their real bodies will come out and they'll take much more damage. I didn't know that, and I fought these dudes right now as ghosts. But yeah, break these, they'll come back as human, and this will stay even after you rest at a bonfire, so they'll remain human from now on. And some enemies will build up poison just by being around them, so I just decided to use more range once I'm against them. Also, this Hex Lady almost sends me back to the bonfire. I hate these people. Use this enemy's own trap against them, and head down this hole so we can go and find a bunch of bugs, also ready to destroy our equipment. And we go further, and this area is absolutely polluted with these ghosts, and I get stuck at one point. I don't know how I do. You're a ghost, like, can I just go through you, please? There's also this chick that's sending a bunch of hexes our way as we're trying to get up here. Luckily, we have a shortcut open so we can get back here quicker. Now, this area is full of the coffins of these enemies, but I lure them out of here, and then I get them to the first floor because for some reason they can't climb ladders, and after they're down here, they can't get back up and stop me from hitting their coffins, or sarcophagus, I don't know what they are. And not only that, some of them are actually taking damage from the spikes on the floor too. Be careful, some of them do have some crossbows. There's also a lot of hidden buttons around the area, so make sure you hit those. It'll get rid of some of the spikes and even activate a door that'll allow you to jump over and get a bonfire that's in this area that would have been missed if I missed these buttons. And in this chest we get the miracle Denial, and this thing is so powerful. Dark Souls knew I was missing second chance from Demon Souls, and they decided to bring it back. Denial lasts for 4 minutes, and when you die, it'll revive you with 1 HP. So if you die while you're around a lot of enemies or continuously getting hit, this won't exactly help you since it only revives you at 1 HP. You're still gonna die. It really is best used against 1v1 bosses since you have time to react with that 1 HP instead of instantly getting ganked. It's an amazing miracle, but it's not always guaranteed to get value, and sometimes you might want to consider bringing other self buffs as opposed to this one. And the Pyromancer NPC spawns over here, and this is probably one of the slipperiest NPCs I've fought. And not only that, his pyromancies also leave behind, I don't know if that's lava, but just if you stand in that area where it was shot, you will take damage. And I don't know if this is a pyromancy, I would assume it is, but if anybody is near this orb, they'll start regaining HP. It could be him or it could be me. It could be both of us. But he can't run forever, and eventually we claim him. There's these enemies without eyes, and they scare the fuck out of me, both out of a design standpoint and damage standpoint. And I'm very lucky. I don't think I even had Denial when I got hit by that. And I just lived off of, I would assume, 0.1 HP. And my trousers were absolutely soaked after I got this bonfire. He just made his way over here. Also, I just like this animation for showing the bridge being set up. We also turn on this elevator, which takes us to the very first bonfire that we got in this DLC. After returning, we have to descend downward so we can actually face the boss. And luckily for us, we get this hidden bonfire so we don't have to do all that over again. But I am telling you, these night enemies give me so much trouble. And not only that, Forlorn loves to show up as I'm facing them, and I get backstabbed. And I think the only reason I survived that backstab is because of my Estus. We do face 2 enemies, but this other knight is already low on HP, so we take him out quick. And finally, now when we're 1v1ing Forlorn, yeah, you got nobody to help you now, right? Yeah, get put down. And I am gonna look a bit goofy, but I do put on the Black Witch set so we can reduce dark damage as much as possible. We get ourselves and our weapon all buffed up, and we're ready to kill Alana, and she also just stands there for a while, so we get a nice good amount of hits in there before she even starts attacking us. Also, I got lucky during this fight. She can summon Velstadt, but she never did. All I got were the skeletons. Don't get me wrong, they can be a threat, especially when I stop to hit them and I get blasted in the face, but I don't feel any real incentive to kill them, so I just go after Alana, and the sword does a lot of damage. Hell, I just kill the skeleton as I'm also swinging at Alana, and when you get a direct hit, you actually do a lot of damage with the special using this sword. And she summoned 1 more round of skeletons, but they're not a threat. I just run past all of them since she's on such low HP, and eventually 1 more lightning spear, she goes down. That was the first try on that. and we head on down to start the final boss of this DLC, Sin. I do get annoyed a lot, but this honestly is one of my favorite boss fights from DS2. Sin vs. Sin, who's the real one? Ah! If he swings at you and goes elevated, his feet will come back down and damage you as well. This is the first fireball, but I do eventually get better at dodging these. But I gotta pay attention where this man is parking. I start throwing lightning spears at what I assumed was a safe distance. He proves that wrong. I don't know how this first attack misses, and even on his charge attack, when he turns around, you can still take damage. And when he does this, there's a bit of a delay to when he actually swings, so dodge at the good time. Also, again, I should have ran towards him when he started. Also, how do I dodge this attack? Eventually I start running towards him when he does it, but I don't know if there's a way to get around it. And he won't just poison you, he'll toxic you, so make sure you got that poison moss on you. And I was on a really good run, but I forgot about him landing back down again. So again, when he attacks upward, don't go directly underneath him, kind of strafe him, and then attack as he comes back down. I eventually go with the Lying Mage set with the intent of using Heavenly Thunder because he is a huge target, but whenever I use it, I actually barely hit this dude. Like, I'm sure it's good, but whenever I used it in this fight, it really wasn't pulling its weight. Like, even right here, I only hit him twice, and again, twice is still pretty decent, but I expected much more. And right here, I do run towards him, so that might be the trick, but I don't know if there's any other way around it. But after we become lighter, we eventually just bring him down. I did have to start using life gems because I was getting hit on, but there we go. We take out Sin, and we prove we're the best Sin of them all. To access the next DLC, we go on back down here with all these fire lizards and get the heavy iron key. And now we gotta go through this entire thing to go after Fume Knight. And I love just standing over here and admiring the view. I don't know, I wish I could go down there and just be there, even though it's all fire. It would destroy my feet, but I just think it looks so gorgeous. You could not pay me any money to do this IRL. I don't know what these are called, but in order to destroy them, we have to use some smelter wedges, and we only have a limited amount. Start doing parkour to get to the bottom. These enemies appear out of the snow, and they're not even that hard to take out. I swear that they're pretty easy. They lunge towards you so you can get a nice backstab, and they're very vulnerable to the mace and lightning. We get this dude with the fire barrel to fall down. I'm expecting war when I go into this room, so I have lightning spear and my lightning mace, but I didn't see this dude right underneath me. I try backstabbing them to take them out one by one, but what I mostly fear is that giant dude coming over and destroying me as I try to backstab them. And sure enough, I die as a result of trying to backstab all of them. But I get some advice and I'm told to throw some alluring skulls over to this dude with the barrel and then blowing him up with a firebomb, taking all of them out except the big guy. And once they're all taken care of, this dude, he's just a piece of cake, and after we kill him, we can just use a smelter wedge on that Nishandra, like, shard, I think. Then there's these ghost-like enemies, and they're so fluid and they have a bow, so be very careful with them. In this area, there's a couple enemies with one of them throwing lightning at you, and I just try to do it as quick as possible. I don't know why. I could have lured them out more one at a time, but they all end up attacking me, and then that's it for me. And I try to do a quick run back over there, but 3 of them start ganking me, and then that's it for me as well. I actually head back down to the Sunken Crown DLC because I forgot there's a new area we can explore, and we actually get the Lightning Clutch Ring. I don't use it, even though it would have been very good. I just like keeping my defense up. And I do that so we can also go back to this boss, the Triple Team, that's what I'm going to call him. During my first attempt, it's going well until I fall down and into this water, and I don't know how to get back up, and I'm less mobile, so they just end up ruining my day. I want to take out the archer of the group, so I keep on hitting them, and then just doing a full circle, and then hitting them again once I get back to them after doing the full circle. It's just a long rotation of just slowly whittling them down. And honestly, I pretty much do the same thing with the Grave Robber, because I just go in circles, but when he's left alone, I actually start attacking him when it's a one-on-one. Varg is much slower, so sometimes they do get separated, and I just kill the grave robber, and then now it's just up to me killing Varg, and it's incredibly easy. You were that easy? You yourself were that easy? This time we do the run back successfully and get to the next bonfire. We get into like a little maze of sorts with a bunch of enemies trying to shoot us with lightning, but if you hit this horse head, it'll breathe fire as it's moving away from you and hit the enemies as well. Maybe not this barrel dude, but it would work on him. And the fire is incredibly effective. Like with this big enemy, I just decide to dodge his attacks while keeping him in the fire, and he eventually goes down without me having to do much damage to him at all. We head over to another tower, and there are these enemies that like to crawl around on the ground, and after a certain point they'll try to explode, but if you hit them with a fire attack, their next attack is most likely to be an explosion, just killing them instantly. We have another NPC fight, but I saw that the fire can hit other targets, so I light it in the middle of the fight, and you'll see what happens. Rachel, no, stay in there, stay in there! Girl, come on, I'm trying to see how good Faith is. This is a good test. Rachel, what are you doing to yourself? This can't be healthy. Uh-oh. You almost had me. Oh, come on. Come on. You're so close. You're so... Hijo de... Come on. Okay. Yeah, let's get back to it. Come on. Your AI can't know that... Uh-oh. Oh, my God. All right, so... No! That's fine. Okay. Fire damage does, in fact, blow them up faster. It's blowing up Rachel, not as quick, but it's... Oh, my God. Imagine being as good of a player as me. Guys, this game is not hard at all. I don't even know how I died in this game. I should have brought every boss here. After our skillful duel with Rachel, we just light a bunch of these enemies on fire, just making them explode on top of each other. Hey, yo. And we get the Scorching Iron Scepter as we decide to go on back. So now we can move on down after putting the Iron Scepter. Forlorn, I swear to God, we make it to the area with the blue smelter demon, but we are not doing this right now. And we take our last elevator to see the ice dome containing Fume Knight. Okay, I just found out that her name is actually Nadalia, but we start taking her out with the smelter wedges because I don't know. I just know it's probably bad to have these on as I'm fighting Fume Knight. And before we fight him, we put on armor with more elemental resistance to fire. He also does dark damage, I didn't know that. So we have the Zuli the Witch set on. This dude will do both fast attacks with his sword and then heavy attacks with the great sword. I will say usually it's the quick attacks that get me. The second phase is much more fierce, but I did not do myself any favors by just rolling into this orb. We can rebuff. But with enough agility, I actually find this swipe pretty relaxing to dodge. I did make the crucial mistake of trying to get a Sacred Oath off because I thought it would have been fast enough, but I end up getting swiped. Also, even after attacking, he will run right back at you. But Denial does come into effect here, allowing me to barely survive and dodge and get away. But even after healing, he still gets me because I'm at low enough HP, it can't regenerate fast enough. And I don't know, but just at a certain point, I just get it. His second phase is not as threatening to me as it was before. Like, yes, if I'm not careful, I'm gonna get my HP rocked, but I feel like I have an understanding when he's gonna do his attacks and have a better idea of what to look out for in his hand movements when he's going to do them. And I want the fight to end quicker, so I just start staying closer to him. And he does this swap, and even after these two attacks, there we go, he's done. We got the Fume Knight. And we get the crown that we're going to be wearing for the rest of the game, the crown of the Old Iron King. While wearing this crown, it'll just restore 20% of your spell uses every 2 minutes. For free. I think it's ridiculous we get such a powerful effect from this, but it is at the end of the DLC. It already takes a while to get from bonfire to bonfire, so just taking 8 minutes and you've already restored 80% of your spells. But before we move on, we have to take on Sir Knight Alon. I'm not going to show much, but this is probably one of the worst runbacks I ever have to do every time I want to go back to this boss. I actually stopped initially playing DS2 because of this guy. I never beat him, and one of the reasons is how quick he is with this lunge. I swear you have to roll a little bit before you think he's about to attack you to avoid these. And even if you roll away, he will turn to you immediately and start attacking, so you only have enough time to get like 1 or 2 hits. And after this grab, I'm pretty sure he also buffs up his damage alongside it. I drink before he even charges the lunge, and then in that amount of time, I'm gone. I swear this is a great example where sometimes he does a slower version of this attack, and then times he does a faster one, and I can't notice it. I might be wrong, but I swear that's it. And just look at how quick that was, man. You really do have to be on your toes to avoid it. It is possible, it definitely is, but it's so difficult to get the hang of. And just a little rage on the run back. I'm dead already, you pieces of oh my god. And this boss was giving me the most mental damage throughout all of it. And I am running Denial, but it feels pointless because you really have to know the attacks, because even if you're left on 1 HP, he's quick enough to attack you before you can respond. Also, look at this. God, did you see how far away I was from the blade? And we just keep on getting destroyed over and over and over. Eventually, we actually do get pretty used to his speed and trying to match it. We still do get hit, but because we haven't really gotten hit that much throughout the actual match, we're not really left at a point where we have to heal. We're not in danger because of it. Again, I quit this dude because I didn't think I'd ever be able to match him in terms of speed. And it took me a lot of tries. I think it was almost an hour of just going at this. But eventually, he falls. Okay. Oh, I was not looking, bro. At the HP, not that I was blind. I eventually understand what the Old Iron King crown does, and I'm pretty much max out all my armor. I get the Old Iron King crown to +5, and I get the Lion Mage set up to +9. So this is the armor I'm intent on rocking with the whole game. The rest of it. I didn't record it, but I spent like a good 1.5 to 2 hours just killing all the enemies for the run back to Smelter Demon because I did not want to deal with that on stream. So yeah, essentially all the enemies are already dead. And again, I did it off camera. I did a little bit of mining off camera. Blue Smelter Demon is actually using magic instead of fire, so we brought Great Magic Barrier because again, I thought it only worked on magic. We rely heavily on Great Lightning Spirit, and because of the regeneration from the crown, we're always going to be getting it back no matter what. And honestly, with our set and Great Magic Barrier, we don't even take that much damage from him, even though we're pretty lightly armored. We are at a point where we do have to heal, but it's still Smelter Demon. I know his attacks, I'm fine. And mostly from a distance, we take out Smelter Demon. Leveling Faith does not seem to be worth it because putting 2 points into it will just give us 1 extra point of lightning damage. But finally, we're at the Ivory King DLC. I finally understand that if I want Denial to work, it can be my only self buff. And these enemies are resistant. They take 4 heavy attacks off my mace. And yes, it's single-handed, but still. We find an elevator that's not for use. And these women on the ground, they will attack you. They are conniving. Do not let them live. There's a bunch of enemies trying to take us on, so I lure them one by one by hitting them with Lightning Spear. There's a couple enemies that deal range damage, but I'm usually fine. They don't do that much, and because of the crown, I'll just continuously regenerate my miracles, even if it takes a long time to get through the area. I do try to bring the torch outside because I feel like I could melt some stuff with that, but the blizzard is too strong and it just snuffs it out. And because of this crown, I continuously regenerate Denial, so as long as I have time, I can just apply a new one, even if it wears out. I did not expect this enemy to absolutely hurl a spear at me. This dude should have been in the Olympics. Eventually we get the key item to actually see the first boss, the Eye of the Priestess. I already know there's an enemy in here dressed up as one of these barrels, and once his element of surprise is gone, he's just very easy to take care of. It's time to take on the first boss, Ava. Ava also has range, and these magic projectiles hit very fast, and they do eventually jump on me, but I'm actually fairly confident facing this boss up close. I actually have a bit more trouble dodging this as the last one gets me. This one delayed attack almost does put me in though, but this area of effect attack they try to hit me with just gives me a lot of time to go away and recover. But it really does just become a game of hitting them when they're in range, and then when they get up close, smacking them with the mace. And now we open this gate to meet Alsana.
To think Ava could be bested. Who are you? My dear lord, a most true king. It was with his magnificent soul that he built a Leonlois and contained the spread of chaos. But the chaos would not be sated, and the king gave his own soul. Inevitably, the king was drained of vigor and plunged into the chaos's heart. The Leonlois was frozen in time, its leader lost. I remain here to contain the chaos, honoring my lord's wishes. The king's dutiful subjects waited patiently for his homecoming. But it was too long a wait to bear.
Before we go after the Great Ivory King, we have to free a couple of his knights. It's not required, but it really does help the fight since we're going to be facing a couple enemies before him. You're fucking kidding me. Is it just me, or do the locks on them look like eyes? We get the symbol of avarice, which I think just looks so goofy. But close by, we free an Elium Lois Knight. For the next one, we have to go backtrack over here and take this elevator down. And we find these porcupine who are very reminiscent of those damn pinwheel skeletons. And because of the color, I swear this dude has sunlight spear. I thought he was chucking something at me, but he chucks it above me and has me get hit by tons of lightning bolts. He can even cast it when I'm inside here. But again, as he tries to do a spell, we just take him out. But I get wrecked so hard by this enemy, even denial can't save me. Also, peep all these misses. I've already been tricked by this white phantom in the past, so we just end up ramming it right up that booty. Now we can pull this lever in peace. I try to get the jump on him, but he has 6th sense, and this thrust attack is so dangerous, but if he overextends himself, he gives you a great opportunity to backstab him. It's actually dealing a lot of damage, but at a certain point, he just decides to book it and run. Hold this for me. I see him from up above, so I try to hit him with a lightning spear, and that does not go well. And he only did that to make me come down here and fight a covetous demon, and I can't get back up. Again, great information to know that he's overweight, but I do plant myself with Heavenly Thunder, allowing him to grab me. And this is bad, because I don't initially notice it, but he takes all of my armor off and my weapons, and I had the Southern Band Ring, which means I also lost some spells along with it. So in the middle of this fight, I really had to just start putting all of my clothes back on. I like this little flip that he does to me, but eventually it's over. We take him out of the lightning spear, and we're finally regenerating our miracles back because of having the king crown on again. And this asshole decided to get back up to full HP. This dude is resistant to like everything that is not a backstab. but we eventually get him low enough to where we can just chuck one more, and there we go, he's gone. This whole thing sucked. And not only that, there were a couple more porcupines right here. Thankfully, I didn't run head first. It does pay to be patient in this game. To continue further, don't kill the enemies near the golem so they won't revive, and we take an elevator so we can reach the other side of the bridge. We're out of Estus by this point, so I try to rely on just dodging, and if I have to, any life gems that I have remaining. I think because it was in my dragon chime was at risk of breaking, but thankfully I've been saving a lot of repair powders to this point. I haven't used a single one, so I have enough. And this is my first time using a heal item that isn't Estus or a life gem, the Monastery Charm. Honestly, it's a really nice backup to have. And hitting this snowball is so satisfying. But at the very top, there rests another knight to collect for the Ivory King fight. And because there's no more blizzard, we can actually return to an area that has a door that's locked that requires 4 torches be lit. But honestly, there's just a couple flexile sentries to kill here. It doesn't really have that much. I have a key to open this door over here with a bonfire. At this point, I'm actually gonna ditch the Thorn Greatsword, so I go back and use a soul vessel to reallocate my stats away from strength and dex and more into vigor and adaptability. And this is how our stats are gonna look like after I reallocate them. And I take this coffin to reach the frigid outskirts. And after facing one of these reindeer-like enemies, I know I'm not ready for this place. I decide to just go out of here. And to get to the next night, I have to do a whole lot of ladders until we reach this walkway leading to another area with a knight inside, which also has an NPC that cancels out spells. And shout out to Denial allowing me to survive this one too. And at the end of the day, they're still a wizard, so they're not that good against actual damage to the face. And we go and free the final knight that we need. I've never faced the Great Ivory King, so this is my first attempt, but come on boys, let's get in there. Damn, this place is a little warm. They have a lot of enemies coming after us, and even this dude has a pyromancy that also tracks you. That surprised me. But since our knights are taking care of some of them, and I don't want them to lose that much damage, we have to kill these dudes as fast as possible. And this right here is just war. We just start ganking them, and then I see 2 more about to gank me. Eventually, we do have 2 knights left for when we face the Ivory King. I've seen people go against this dude, but I've never actually faced his wrath myself. It's kind of a 3v2. I have my 2 knights, but he also brought someone as backup, and he does this back attack trying to swing at me, but Sir Alon has trained me for that. My knights are gone, so I have to kill this dude, or unless I want to face him and the king as well. And I don't think I really have to say it, but we're not going to be using Lightning Spear against him. He's too fast. We really have to do this with the mace. But I swear I'm cooking with these dodge times. Once it's just me and him, even though he is buffed up, this becomes much more manageable. I gotta say, I'm surprised I dodged this. I had enough time to dodge twice, and I actually kind of love his dash attack because I can just roll into him to hit him even more. And even this grab attack didn't feel like it was that bad. I was already using life gem as it happened, so I wasn't really losing any HP. But we actually take down the Ivory King on our first attempt. Bro. Wait, I have to be the cats now, don't I? Now it's time to take on Lud and Zalin, and I'm just gonna be honest, I use summons for this. I had to use a tutorial to even know where I'm supposed to go, and as I'm getting f***ed over with those reindeers, I just couldn't. If you're good enough to do this, that's great, but I'm mostly just here for the casual gameplay, alright? I'm not here to prove I'm the very best, and this is actually one of the first times I do ever summon. So again, I am sorry if you expected to see me suffer, but I am not going to be going through this without some extra people to help me out. Damn bro, you cold? So yes, going through this area is much more manageable, And we do get to see the effects of healing our teammates as well. And the thing I just hate the most is the lack of visibility. And I know we're going through a snowstorm, but just because it's realistic or adds to the atmosphere, it doesn't mean I like it. If only I could just see exactly where I'm going and when these enemies are about to pop up and hit me, it would have become a bit better, even though the run back is so long on top of it. But that part just I hate it. We eventually make it to the boss as I have my companions all healed up. First one up is Lud. And with this, I would have been fine going into the boss. I don't think I would need them. It would be hard, I think, but I don't think I needed them. But just the run back, like an extra couple minutes, and I have to retry. Honestly, the NPCs stay stuck to them like glue as I just pester them with some lightning spears. Since Ava wasn't that bad, neither is Lud, and because Zalin is also distracted, we can just 1v1 them, and it's not bad at all. Eventually Fiva dies, but all we have to deal with is Zalin on low HP, and there we go, we killed the final boss. I know it's a bit anticlimactic, but I'm not here to prove I'm the best. I really needed these guys, and I think if you do need summons, just use them. We eventually return to Vendrick to show him that we have all the crowns acquired.
Seeker of fire, deliverer of crowns. What do you see in the flames? Find the crowns and your own answers. The crowns hold the strength of lords from times long past. Seek adversity. As befits you, seeker of fire, coveter of the throne. Seeker of fire, conqueror of dark.
And now we can open a door from the Shrine of Amana that'll let us get both his soul and his armor. The armor has stat requirements, so I don't even meet those, and I feel like I look a little bit goofy wearing this stuff. But there we go. We have his crown, and we talk to Vendrick one last time.
One day fire will fade, and dark will become a curse. Men will be free from death, left to wander eternally. Dark will again be ours, and in our true shape, we can bury the false legends of yore. Only, is this our only choice? Seeker of fire, coveter of the throne. Seek strength. The rest will follow.
And there we go. We finally beat Dark Souls 2. I will say at the beginning, Faith is not very viable since the only real offensive miracle you have is Lightning Spear, and you have to get 22 Faith. You only have 3 casts, and even then, my mace was still more powerful than using those. Back in DS1, I was already ready with just the Lightning Spear and killing most of the bosses until I was up to Ornstein and Smo where I needed a bit more firepower. So to make Faith really shine, you have to invest a lot into attunement. Once you're in the mid game and you have a lot more points into attunement, giving you a faster cast speed, also more memory, and also increasing your maximum amount of miracles at a time, it just starts to continuously get better. And once you acquire Heavenly Thunder, most of the giant enemies are just pieces of cake. After reading Velstadt, you already have Sunlight Blade and Sacred Oath to make yourself do more damage melee too, so you have both range and close combat covered. For the early game, have a weapon that you really do trust. Mine was the mace, but once you get more levels into it, you can kind of lay off of it and just allow your miracles to do the talking for you. So overall, I would say that Faith is actually very viable in this game. Just expect it to be a bumpy road at the beginning. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is actually one of the largest YouTube videos I've ever done. And next up is Dark Souls 3, and I've actually never played that game, so not only is it going to be a Faith viable video, it's also going to be my first ever playthrough. Today, the day that I upload this, I'm actually going to be streaming Dark Souls 3 so we can get some more footage for now the Dark Souls 3 video. So again, if you guys want to see me fumble around on there trying to make Faith work, come check me out. We're going to be going live at around 7 p.m. And I just want to take the time to appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for watching these videos. And for anyone that needs to hear it, please know that you do matter. I know we live in some depressing times right now, but please hold on. We really don't know what life has in store for any of us, but I think you deserve to be there when it gives you something good. Always keep your head up, keep your mental health in check, and talk to any loved ones around you. Even if we don't know each other, I love every single one of y'all. So before I head out, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna be streaming Dark Souls 3. Again, if you just need a chat or hang out, come by. I will catch y'all in the next video with DS3. And please, don't you dare go hollow.